A very good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us here in Goa at the just concluded meeting of the Council of Foreign Ministers of the SCO, which was chaired by Honorable External Affairs Minister. We are extremely privileged to have him here in person with us to give us a sense of the developments and the discussions that have taken place over the last 1.5 days. Also joining us on the dais, Shri Vinay Quatra, Foreign Secretary, sir. Shri Dammu Ravi, Secretary Economic Relations in the Ministry of External Affairs, as well as Srimati Yojana Patel, Joint Secretary, SCO Division, as well as the National Coordinator for SCO from India. With that, sir, I would request you, sir, to perhaps say a few opening remarks, and then we can take a few questions.
Friends from the media, we have just concluded the SCO Council of Foreign Ministers meeting today here in Goa. This was chaired by India for the first time. Foreign ministers of SCO member states, the Secretary General of the SCO and Director of SCO RATS took part in the meeting. During the meeting, the SCO foreign ministers assessed the status of decisions that will be approved at the upcoming SCO Summit in July. The meeting also gave an opportunity to dwell on the state of multilateral cooperation in SCO, to address regional and global issues of interest, talk about the reform and modernization of the organization, and assess the progress of admitting Iran and Belarus to SCO as new member states. As you are all aware, Prime Minister Modi had articulated India's priorities for the SCO chair with the theme of towards a secure SCO. The acronym SECURE was given by Prime Minister because it lays out the main focus under our ongoing chairship, and SECURE stands for security, economic development, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, and environmental protection. I would also like to inform you that under our ongoing presidency, we have successfully hosted more than 100 meetings and events so far, including 15 ministerial levels or head of agency meetings. Many of the socio-cultural events hosted by India were the first of its kind in the framework of the SCO. The designation of Varanasi, Kashi, as the first ever SCO cultural and tourist capital for 2022-23, I think deserves special mention. It was our endeavor to create new verticals of cooperation in SCO, and as an example, I can cite the field of startups and innovation, traditional medicine, science and technology, empowering youth, and reviving the Buddhist heritage amongst the SCO member states. The work to implement these verticals is already underway, and it is being spearheaded by India. We are also committed to strengthening and further deepening the cooperation within the framework of SCO. And many of our initiatives and steps were in that direction. We have opened up new areas of cooperation and intensified engagement among member states. We hope to continue the momentum of our interaction, and we are obviously looking forward to the summit in July. In the course of these 2 days, I also held fruitful bilateral interactions with my counterparts from Russia, China, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan. All ministers reaffirmed their support to India as the chair of SCO and expressed their appreciation for the contribution of India to that organization. I also met the Secretary General of the SCO and discussed the diversification and the deepening of SCO agenda. As regards the bilateral relationships, let me start with Russia. FM Lavrov and I noted the progress that has been made in our economic cooperation. We exchanged views on a number of regional and global developments. Since the G20 meetings are ongoing, and there's a BRICS foreign ministers meeting which is coming up soon, these two were also the subject of our discussion. Where FM Qingang of China is concerned, much of our attention, I think predictably, went to the disengagement issue in the Western sector. Yeah, but here again, the G20 and BRICS featured in the talks because China is a member of both groupings. With Minister Saidov of Uzbekistan, it was a warm first meeting. We took stock of our bilateral ties and agreed to have another conversation soon. This was also the case with Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Nutliev of Kazakhstan. With my Tajik and Kyrgyz counterparts, Foreign Minister Sirajuddin and Kulubayev, now they are long-standing friends with whom we have a rolling, ongoing conversation. Some of the subjects which came up in the meeting with them were overlapping with those of the others in Central Asia. They included connectivity, counter-terrorism, health, trade, and energy. With all the Central Asian ministers, we agreed that the India-Central Asia format meetings in different domains should take place at an early date. So the overall sense that I would like to share with you is that of a productive SCO Council of Foreign Ministers meeting. I think it was useful in preparing the ground for the summit. So those are some opening thoughts, and I would be delighted to take questions.
Thank you, sir. Before I take the questions, ground rules, please. Please introduce yourself and the organization that you represent. We'll also not be able to accommodate more than one question, even that may be difficult. Let me start. Pranay, can I start with you?
सर प्रणय उपाध्याय एबीपी न्यूज़ से सर सामने प्रणय उपाध्याय एबीपी न्यूज़ से सर मेरा सवाल इस चीज़ को लेकर है कि एससीओ की विदेश मंत्रियों की बैठक के लिए पाकिस्तान के विदेश मंत्री बिलावल भुट्टो आए थे। भारत में बहुत लंबे समय बाद किसी पाकिस्तानी विदेश मंत्री की ये यात्रा हुई थी, लेकिन अपने भाषण में उन्होंने सीपैक का जिक्र किया। आज उन्होंने कहा जम्मू कश्मीर को लेकर कि भारत G20 में अड़ियल रवैया दिखा रहा है वहाँ पर आयोजन को करके यहाँ की सॉइल पे। तो आपने इस यात्रा को कैसे लिया और क्या आपको लगता है कि इस यात्रा से जिस तरह से उन्होंने कमिटमेंट दिखाया एससीओ को लेकर, बायलैटरल टॉक्स को लेकर भी कोई संभावना बन सकती है? क्योंकि ये बातें ऐसे समय में हो रही जब भारत में आज टेरर अटैक भी हुआ है।
We'll take a few questions together. Yeah, go
Sir,
ahead.
hi. This is Shivangi Thakur from Z News. आज हमने देखा किस तरह से SCO समिट हुआ, लेकिन इसके बाद सर जो पाकिस्तान के विदेश मंत्री हैं उनका एक बयान सामने आया है और उन्होंने कहा है कि आतंकवाद पर भारत और पाकिस्तान को साथ मिलकर बैठकर बातचीत करना चाहिए क्योंकि हम भी इससे पीड़ित हैं। ऐसे में जब वो यहाँ पर आए हैं, द्विपक्षीय वार्ता नहीं हुई है, राजौरी में आज भी हमारे जवान शहीद हुए हैं, तो कैसे देखते हैं? क्योंकि वो कह रहे हैं कि सिंपल सी चीज़ है, वो कह रहे हैं आतंकवाद पे हम दोनों को मिलकर काम करना चाहिए, लेकिन कैसे करेंगे जब आप समिट में आकर बातचीत नहीं करते?
Siddhant.
Hi sir, Siddhant from WION. When it comes to bilateral with the Chinese foreign minister, the Chinese readout says that situation at the border is stable. How do you see this divergence in the position?
Between
the Chinese side claiming that everything is normal at the border, everything is stable at the border.
Yeah, ma'am there. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Munize Jahangir. I'm from Pakistan, from Aaj TV, and my question to you over here is that the Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari made a bold move by coming here, and it is being seen as a breakthrough. He is also being criticized, but how do you, India, see it? Do you see it as a breakthrough, and what will be your roadmap in the future to resumption of at least diplomatic ties with Pakistan?
Sir, perhaps 4 questions. I'll hand over to you, sir.
देखिए, 3 सवाल जो हैं वो पाकिस्तान पर थे, एक सवाल जो है वो चाइना पर था। तो ये 3 सवाल जो पाकिस्तान वाले सवाल जो हैं मैं एक साथ लेना चाहूँगा, ताकि बिकॉज दे आर ओवरलैपिंग क्वेश्चंस। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, लेट मी से दिस, एज अ फॉरेन मिनिस्टर of an SCO member state, Mr. Bhutto Zardari was treated accordingly. As a promoter, justifier, and I'm sorry to say spokesperson of a terrorism industry, which is the mainstay of Pakistan, his positions were called out and they were countered, including at the SCO meeting itself. So let me come to the specifics. On the China-Pakistan economic corridor, this so-called corridor, I think it was made very clear, not once but twice in the SCO meeting, that connectivity is good for progress, but connectivity cannot violate the territorial integrity and sovereignty of states. So this has been our long-standing position. Nobody should have any doubt about it. And I assure you, those who are in the room today had no doubt about it. I made sure of that. Regarding आपका दूसरा जो था वो G20 के बारे में था. Now, you know, I don't think there is a G20 issue to debate with anybody. Certainly not with a country which is nothing to do with the G20. I mean, Jammu and Kashmir was, is, will always be a part of India. And the G20 meetings are held in all the Indian states and union territories, so it is completely natural that it is held there. जो आपका जो दूसरा सवाल जो था कि from what I understood that India and Pakistan should sit together. You know, victims of terrorism do not sit together with perpetrators of terrorism to discuss terrorism. Victims of terrorism defend themselves, counter acts of terrorism, they call it out, they delegitimize it, and that is exactly what is happening. So to come here and preach these hypocritical words as though we are on the same boat, I mean, they are committing acts of terrorism. And, you know, I don't want to jump the gun on what happened today, but I think we're all feeling equally outraged. So, I think, I mean, let's be very, very clear on this. You know, on this matter, the terrorism matter, I mean, I would say Pakistan's credibility is depleting even faster than its forex reserves. So, you know, let's be clear what this is about. On your question, you know, is this a breakthrough? Look, he came here as a member, a foreign minister of an SCO member state. That is part of multilateral diplomacy. Please do not see it as anything more than that. It was not meant as anything more than that. It was not treated as anything more than that. And I think nothing that from what he said or what I heard he said deserves for this to be treated more than that. The China question. Look, my understanding of what the Chinese said, I think they used the word stable, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is that there is an abnormal position in the boundary areas, border areas, along the boundary. And we had a very frank discussion about it. It's not the first discussion. I had spoken to Foreign Minister Chingang on the sidelines of the G20 as well. We have to take the disengagement process forward. And I have made it very clear, frankly, publicly as well, and what I say within the room is not different from what I say outside, which is that India-China relations are not normal and cannot be normal if the peace and tranquility in the border areas is disturbed. I've been very, very clear about it. I've been very consistent about it. And I have not changed my position at this meeting either.
Thank you, sir. Listen, in the interest of efficiency, please do not repeat similar questions or try to come back to it. I think, so I'll take fresh questions on that. Maha? Yeah.
Sir, Maha Siddiqui from NDTV. Sir, how does India view being part of an organization which is now largely being viewed as an anti-West grouping?
Yeah, Neeraj? One second.
सर नीरज हूँ न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया से। आपने कहा कि G20 से पाकिस्तान का कोई लेना देना नहीं है, लेकिन बिलावल भुट्टो ने यह भी कहा श्रीनगर में जो पर्यटन के मसले पर बैठक हो रही है, वक्त पर ऐसा जवाब देंगे कि उनको याद रहेगा। इस स्टेटमेंट को भारत कैसे देखता है?
देखिए, स्पेसिफिक ऐसे क्वेश्चन नहीं हो पाएगा, जवाब दे चुके हैं।
मैं इसका भी जवाब दूंगा।
Yes, sir, please go ahead. One second, no, please.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, gentlemen.
Thank you. Dmitry Melnikov from Russian TV. Sir, was Ukrainian crisis part of today's discussion, and did Mr. Lavrov tell you about the recent attack on Kremlin in Moscow, and what is your point of view? Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you. Microphone coming to you. No, him. Yeah, right.
Hello, sir. Rishikesh, Press Trust of India say. Sir, Pak FM also said that we should not get caught up in weaponizing terrorism for diplomatic point scoring. So, what are your views on this?
Manish, yeah, microphone. We'll take this 5.
Sir, Manish Chand, India Rights Network. Just before his meeting with you, Chinese Foreign Minister was addressing a function in honor of Dr. Kotnis, where he spoke about people-to-people contacts and finding a new path of peaceful coexistence. Did you see any signaling towards, some sort of peace move, some sort of restructuring of engagement?
Manish, she answered this question. Anyway,
no,
thank you, sir.
Still the people-to-people part is important.
Okay, let me start with the anti-West, is SCO perceived as an anti-Western grouping? Look, how people perceive it is something I cannot answer for. What I can say is it is a grouping where membership serves India's interests. India has a multi-directional foreign policy with many partners, and it's not always necessary or sometimes possible that all partners get along with other partners. So this is characteristic of the foreign policy in today's very fluid and I would say multipolar and sometimes uncertain, volatile world. So we are members of SCO because it serves our interests. It is a major Eurasian grouping. There are, most other members of this grouping are countries with whom we have strong bilateral relationships, obviously not all. I think really that's how I would present our participation. I will jump that question, come to the Ukraine question because I want to take the Pakistan related questions together. On the Ukraine, I wouldn't say there was focused discussion on developments in Ukraine, including recent developments. There were references to it. There were some references to it in the SCO formal session. There was some reference to it in the informal meeting that we had of the foreign ministers yesterday. I think that would be really the right characterization of what happened in the room. Regarding the Dr. Kotnis question and people to people. Look, again, you know, I think Arindam made the point. I mean, I've answered this in a way that relations today are not normal. So to suggest somehow that they are and everything else can continue and, you know, while the relevant issues, the central problems are not being effectively addressed, I think it won't wash. That there are issues we need to discuss. I think both countries need to be clear about it. Now, it may be the endeavor or expectation to try and project you know, exactly the kind of picture which you would suggest. But I would not go along with it. I certainly will not play along with it. Then on the जो आपका सवाल जो था, देखिए, I said उनका कोई G20 से लेना देना नहीं है. I will also say उनका कोई श्रीनगर से भी लेना देना नहीं है. There is only one issue to discuss on Kashmir, which is when does Pakistan vacate its illegal occupation of Pakistan occupied Kashmir. That is the only issue up for discussion. On the weaponization, you know, it's a very interesting statement because it unconsciously reveals a mindset. What does weaponizing something mean? It means that the activity is legitimate and somebody is weaponizing it. So you say you are weaponizing trade, you are weaponizing technology. Somebody says you are weaponizing terrorism, that means they think terrorism is legitimate, that we should not weaponize it. That is normal. Okay. Now, what are we doing? We are countering ourselves, countering terrorism. We are defending ourselves. We are calling it out. We are exposing it. And some of it is what you saw today. So, you know, to me, we are not scoring diplomatic points. We are politically, diplomatically exposing Pakistan before the world. And as a victim of terrorism, I'm completely entitled to do so. I mean, what do you mean we should not weaponize terrorism? That means as a victim, I'm supposed to put up with it. I mean, so you not only commit terrorism, but you say, oh, please do not even speak about it. I mean, come on. So, to me, that sentence, you know, it spoke so much about a mindset of that country that you can all, you know, see for yourselves.
Thank you. So we'll take a few more questions. Yeah.
सर, पाकिस्तान के विदेश मंत्री ने ये भी कहा कि पीस, सर इधर विजयलक्ष्मी हूँ इंडिया टीवी से. सर, पाकिस्तान के विदेश मंत्री ने ये भी कहा कि पीस इज़ आवर डेस्टिनी एंड वी शुड नॉट बी हेल्ड होस्टेज टू आवर हिस्ट्री. हम हिस्ट्री खुद क्रिएट करेंगे. लेकिन आज ही राजौरी में हमला होता है, हमारे कई जवान शहीद होते हैं. कुछ दिनों पहले पुंछ में भी हमला हुआ. लेकिन यहाँ पर पाकिस्तान का दोहरा चरित्र, हालांकि अंग्रेजी में आप जवाब दे चुके हैं इसका, हिंदी में चाहूंगी, क्या पाकिस्तान का दोहरा चरित्र इसी से जग जाहिर होता है?
इस टॉपिक पे बात 3 बार हो चुका है.
उसका सबूत भी चाहिए क्या?
प्लीज मैम. I remember you. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Runjhun Sharma, RT. There are speculations on SCO becoming a military alliance. How does India see the role of SCO, particularly in the security area?
Yeah, behind there. Yes, please. Yeah, you, please. To the mic.
Yeah, I'm Sandeep Dikshit with the Tribune. Mr. Jaishankar spoke about modernization and reform of SCO. Can you please dwell a little more on it?
Last question there at the back.
सर, मैं विशाल पांडे हूँ जी न्यूज़ से. आपने पाकिस्तान को आतंकवाद के मुद्दे पर जब से आईना दिखाया है, बिलावल भुट्टो आज काफ़ी परेशान नज़र आए. वो बार बार 5 अगस्त 2019 का जिक्र कर रहे हैं. 5 अगस्त वो तारीख है जब धारा 370 हटी थी. कैसे जवाब देना चाहेंगे? क्या उस दुख को अभी वो भूल नहीं पा रहे हैं, धारा 370 जब से हटी है?
Okay, I think we'll close with that. So I think questions are getting very similar. I will hand over the... no, Amitabh, I don't have time. I'm really... unless you have something very specifically different? Okay. No, sorry, I've taken lots of questions. Amitabh, one last one. Yeah.
सर, मैं अमित हूँ टाइम्स नाउ नौबाद से. उन्होंने एक बात कही कि स्पोर्ट्स को स्पोर्ट्स को और राजनीति को अलग रखनी चाहिए और वो चाहते हैं कि स्पोर्ट्स को बंधक ना बनाया जाए। उन्होंने ये भी आरोप लगाया कि ब्लाइंड
मैं कुछ कह पाऊं? ये इंटरव्यू आपके कमेंट्स के लिए है, उन्होंने क्या कहा और हमारा क्या रिस्पॉन्स है, इस तरह से नहीं हो सकता। सॉरी, मैं क्लोज करना चाहूंगा सर। फ्लोर इज योर्स।
लुक, पहला सवाल पीस इज डेस्टिनी आप किन्होंने पूछा? आपने पूछा ना। See, whether peace is destiny or not, I do not know. Terrorism cannot be destiny. You know, a country which does terrorism cannot talk about peace in the same breath. तो साथ माने आतंकवाद भी करें और शांति की भी बात करें, ये थोड़ी चलेगा। तो इसीलिए मैंने कहा कि उनकी क्रेडिबिलिटी आप देखें, वो तो कुछ भी कह सकते, और उस देश का इतिहास इस, ये कोई नई बात नहीं। तो आज जो कहते हैं ना, द पुराना प्लेबुक जो है, वो पुराना प्लेबुक एक बार और चल रहा था, लोकेशन अलग था, गोवा था, प्लेबुक वही था, पुराना था। अब जो on the SCO, no, look, SCO is a I would say regional organizations with very specific political objectives and, you know, economic, you can say economic, technology, people to people, that's the kind of agenda and mandate that it has. I really do not see it going in the direction which you suggested. On the modernization and reform of SCO, you know, this was something which was discussed at the previous summit. The numbers, the members of SCO are growing. The organization, you know, is now quite a few years old. The dialogue partners are growing, the observers are growing. So the feeling was that, you know, we have to, in fact, one of the issues is also language. That SCO language, because of its original composition, was Russian and Chinese. So today, a country like India, and I raised this issue specifically, that, you know, we also need to make English one of the working languages of the SCO. So there are a number of issues of finance, issues of organization, of its working, of its membership. So the overall sense was that we need to, you know, sit and discuss it. I think one meeting has been held in Kazakhstan in this regard. We will be holding further meetings and then obviously reporting up to the summit. जो आपका जो अनुच्छेद 370 वाला जो सवाल जो था, मैं आपको अंग्रेजी में जवाब दे रहा हूँ, क्योंकि आई हैव अ फ्रेज विच इज़ वेक अप एंड स्मेल द कॉफ़ी. 370 इज़ हिस्ट्री. Sooner people realize it, the better. And the last questions, you know, sports and terrorism. See, again, you know, this is like you are trying to normalize terrorism. Terrorism happens, so what? It's not a big deal. You know, there are reasons why terrorism happens. They are really excuses for it. Therefore, let us carry on with the rest of life. I'm sorry that, you know, this India will not accept that anymore. I mean, if terrorism happens, terrorism will be countered. As I said, from the foreign ministry side, certainly our job is to expose it, to call it out, to delegitimize it. You know, we will be unrelenting in that regard, and no attempt to cover it up by suggesting we do other things, and, you know, we can carry on with issues where clearly they are feeling the pinch. I'm sorry, that won't work.
Thank you very much, sir. My thanks also to Foreign Secretary, sir, Vinay Quatra, Secretary Economic Relations, Dammu Ravi, as well as Srimati Yojana Patel, Joint Secretary SCO, for being here today. Thank you all for joining us for this special media briefing. Good evening.
Thank you.